Young Black Suburban. Today we have a guest on our show who is kind of like me. We all have no problem saying that I'm a boxer. We already know that, and I get a lot of boxing guests because of it. We have an up-and-coming cruiserweight out of Inglewood, California, Sonny Beep McEwen. I can say the Q, McEwen.
Yes, sir.
How you doing, Sonny?
I'm great. How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. We met on another podcast, you know, Skywalker podcast. We do one every Sunday. We had a good interview. I think that one you just fought the day before, or did you fight recently?
That was before my fight.
It was before your fight, okay.
Yeah.
It was coming up. And we had an interesting conversation. My manager reached out to you and said, why don't you come to town? And all the way from the West Coast to the East Coast. How you like it?
I like it, man. I mean,
you've been out here before.
Yeah. Well, I've been to Jersey, so this is my first time to Philly, though. So,
okay.
Yeah, it's been nice. We've been getting, a lot of work. So.
Right. Just because we were talking about geographical things before we started. So, we are on the border of Philadelphia, but we are also right on the border of New Jersey.
Exactly.
So, you've been here before.
Exactly.
You just didn't know it.
Yeah.
So what would bring you all the way over here from California?
So I mean, for us, we're all about like, increasing our knowledge and our experience. So, we don't want to be like in a pool which we're like, we're sparring the same people and you get used to them. And then it's like, you don't really know where you need to improve or what you're good at. So we like to like go outside the box and, every camp we go to a different spot just so we can see what we can learn, see what we can meet and stuff like that. So.
Right. Good. So in Inglewood, though, obviously there's much more than just boxing.
Yeah.
There. Not much more. How was it growing up there? Did you grow up in Inglewood?
Yeah, I grew up in Inglewood.
How was it growing up in Inglewood?
I mean, Inglewood is actually a place where, honestly, it's real family oriented. It's like a lot of two-parent households. People grow up in situations where you actually can kind of move the way, there's proper home etiquette and stuff like that. It just, you just have access to the streets. So, it's kind of like dealing with that up and down. So, like for me, I was growing up in a two-parent household, but at the same time, the streets had access to me. So I kind of, being a kid, you're influenced real easy. So I swayed that way.
Because Inglewood, for somebody on the East Coast, we hear it in rap music and on movies, especially the movies of the early 90s and all that. Yeah. And we see a lot of, is known for a lot of gang violence and stuff like that. But you grew up in that situation. So do the movies and the music depict actually where you live?
It's pretty accurate. I mean, it's crazy because like someone coming in, like say for instance, if you were to come in, you will see it. It's like, this looks like a suburban area where it's like, because it actually presents really well. But once you're there and once you're actually moving around it, it can get hectic. Yeah.
Another place that's like that is crazy. I went to Detroit. You ever been to Detroit?
Yeah.
We went to 8 Mile.
Yeah.
And 8 Mile it doesn't look dangerous.
Yeah.
But the people at the hotel, they're like, yo, don't go. Don't go to 8 Mile. Yeah. So I guess that's how Inglewood is.
That's exactly. Because right now you got $1 million houses in Inglewood. It's obviously not the same from when I was growing up, but even still, when I was growing up, you got like, $500,000 houses, and you got people like Byron Scott and stuff like that growing up in the avenues and stuff like that. It's like, but it's people losing their lives around there. So.
Right. How is the school system there? Is it a community-based school system, or are they leaving kids behind? How is it?
From my experience, I've kind of always been fortunate to have like teachers that kind of like seen the best in me, so like they invested into me. So, but at the same time, I've seen kids fall by the wayside. So, I guess it's kind of based on it's kind of difficult to say because as a child, you're not really responsible like that. So, it's easy to get lost in the wayside. But at the same time, there's access to, because you have people coming from, so the high schools in Inglewood or Morningside. So I know people that went to like UFC and stuff like that. So, you have the opportunity to do it.
Right. So there's opportunity. You just got to use it. Right. And it's easy to fall to the wayside anywhere you are in the world. The boxing scene, how many like boxing gyms are there in your town in Inglewood?
Actually, now it's none. So I actually stumbled upon boxing at Rogers Park in Inglewood. They were like the only recreational boxing scene in Inglewood. So that's where I actually learned how to box in Inglewood at Rogers Park.
Right. So it wasn't like there was boxing all around you, because you go to Philly.
Yeah.
There's actually a gym right down the street from this gym, and there's another gym down the street from there.
Yeah.
So we take for granted kind of like how easily accessible boxing is. You didn't have it like right in front of your face?
No. So I mean, until I actually got involved in boxing, there's like probably 3 boxing gyms like in the general area. So you have like you have Rogers Park, the recreational boxing gym. You have Broadway boxing gym, and it's basically 2 Broadway boxing gyms. One, like, they're kind of like a couple miles apart, but like in our area, that's pretty much it in terms of boxing. So you obviously you can exhaust that pretty fast. But, it's only 3 boxing gyms, limited amount of coaches and stuff like that. So yeah, we definitely didn't have like that access to boxing. Gym.
But do you remember the first day walking in?
Coach Hector, me and actually it was 4 of us. So me, my brother, my best friend Ray, and a friend of mine, damn, I can't remember his name. That's crazy. Oh, DJ. We all went to the gym.
That's crazy. Damn, DJ, when you come back home, give him a call.
So yeah, we all actually went to the gym and signed up, and we had to sign like a little sheriff release and all that stuff. So. And that was like my starter journey at boxing.
You weren't really thinking about becoming a champ at that time? Were you just
Absolutely
going to work out? Or?
So, I mean, being in the streets, I'm like, from my neighborhood, I was always fighting grown men. So it's like, I'm 15, 16 I'm fighting 27, 20-year-old men. So I'm like, man, I'm going to go learn how to box. So I went and learned how to box, and I just kind of stuck with it.
Right. Now, did you graduate high school?
Yeah.
Yeah? Mm-hmm. And did you have any, like, professional aspirations outside of boxing? Anything like?
So my thing, I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I was athletic, but I never kind of looked at being an athlete as my like way out. So I always looked at building a business and growing a business. That was always like my mindset.
What kind of business?
So I've always been interested in real estate, and then in being in high school reading books like Rich Dad Poor Dad, learning about Robert Kiyosaki and stuff like that. I've always lean towards that. And then Magic Johnson was like the first entrepreneur I've ever known. So that would always motivate me, like, just to have that sort of freedom and those sort of choices to like influence your family and stuff.
Right. Is that the kind of role models you had growing up? Like, everyone knows that Magic Johnson is like around your area with movie theaters.
Exactly.
And all that.
Yeah.
Was that what you were looking up to? Because I guess there's 2 ways that you could go.
Mm-hmm.
You could look at the guys in the streets, or you could look at people that are actually doing stuff in your neighborhood. Did you have a lot of that?
Yeah. So I mean, my homeboys always clown me because like I used to talk crap to my older homies like growing up. I used to be like, man, I'd never be like y'all. I'm not smoking. I'm not drinking. So. And I actually end up being like them. But those are always like my role models, like Magic Johnson, Robert Kiyosaki, just like. Just being able to use their influence and, how much they've learned to accumulate wealth and, pass it on to their family.
So once you get a couple of dollars from this, that's your next step, right? Put it in.
So right now I'm actually already involved in real estate. Okay. So, I have a rental car company. I have my residential real estate license. I've been doing investing as far as real estate. So, that's always been like my gear, just make sure. And that's another reason why I feel like we can move the way we move as far as boxing, because as far as me and my coach, he has his own, coaching business, and I, do my own entrepreneurial thing on the side as well. So it's like, we're not necessarily in positions where we're kind of strained as far as fights. So, us being independent right now isn't killing us, because, sometimes you get in a position where you can't pay for certain things in boxing, because, boxing is expensive. So, fortunately, we're just in a position to where we can make financial endeavors that make sense for us, like these traveling trips. These are expenses that are paid out of our pocket.
Right.
Like, there's not an agent or a manager or anything that's paying for that. So so like that's always my mindset. Just make sure I'm entrepreneur.
And in a way, you are your own business too. You're investing in yourself. A lot of boxers, they sign with someone, they get a monthly pay or something like that. You're not getting any of that. You're getting paid when you fight.
I look at boxing as like a startup. for me. So it's like right now we're investing all our sweat equity and, you know, our personal income. So we're building up value in terms of our credentials. So like, you know, going out and traveling, meeting guys like you, taking on tough fights, and, you know, just making sure we're always growing. So, you know, when it actually comes to a point to where it makes sense mutually for us to work with some sort of, you know, promoter or manager, we brought value. It's not like, you know, we just asking for something. It's like we have actual value. We've invested in, you know, multiple endeavors to make sure we're presenting something proper.
That sounds good, man. Do you have any promoters or anyone that you inspire to work with, or any business people that you want to say right on here?
I mean, I'm pretty open right now. You know, Sam Watson is a good friend of mine. You know, he comes to my fights pretty consistently. So, you know, but outside of that, I haven't really, you know, I don't know them personally to actually say, hey, you know, I would like to work with them, because, you know, outside of meeting someone personally, what you hear is kind of like, you know, you can't really do nothing with that.
You promote yourself. Throw your own shows.
Yeah.
What do you think, Coach? Throw your own shows. Put them on a headliner.
It's kind of like a team. You know, we take it like step by step in the fights. So like now, Sam Watson, the one that probably the name, Al Hammond, the status behind him, he's the only one that really like zoomed in on Sam Watson was from the LA area.
Right.
So he's familiar with us, he's familiar with everything, and boxing around the area. You know what I'm saying? So he's the only one that really like zoomed in on.
Right.
That's a good look.
Yeah, definitely. When you see Sam coming to your fights and other people coming to your fights, what kind of motivation does that give you?
I mean, I just constantly got to level up. You know, just make sure that I'm putting on a show that everybody enjoys. So, and, you know, that starts way before I get to the ring. So,
exactly.
You know, just making sure I'm constantly in a space mentally, physically, to where, you know, I'm in tip-top shape, to where, you know, I'm the only one that's beating me in the ring.
Right, exactly. Now, you said that it starts way before the fight happens, you know. What does camp look like for Sonny when you know you got a date, or even before you got a date? What are you doing to start out the process, so when it does come time for that date, that you're on point, that you're ready?
So I mean, for me, it's really about I like to make sure I'm physically fit in both realms. So as you know, is my physical physique. So I train twice a day. So I get up at 4 a.m. and, you know, I read and do my daily devotionals and stuff like that. But then I hit the gym and I do my strength training. And then in the afternoon, I go train with my coach. So for me, it's about having both of those dynamics in terms of like, I have my physical mechanics together, and then I can go in the ring and train as well as, you know, I'm doing my cardio and stuff like that. So that's really how I approach it.
Right. Now you guys are here in Philly getting a lot of sparring, going to different gyms and everything like that. When you're in the boxing gym, are you doing a lot of mitt work? Or are you doing a lot of bag work? You know, the other things that are in the gym? Because from what I hear, you just beating people up 10 rounds every day.
So like when we're out of town, we're out here to spar.
Right,
so,
okay.
You know, we got here Tuesday and we've been sparring every day since. So, you know, and that's, you know, just when we're out of town, that's what we're looking for. We want to get the most out of our sparring. Back home, you know, we got plenty of one-on-one time to, you know, get on the mitts and talk about, you know, what, you know, we can adjust or what I was actually doing that was working and stuff like that.
Now, I saw on your record that your first 3 fights were in Mexico. How is it fighting in Mexico? Simple question.
I mean, the promoter that I work with was actually moving me like a prospect. So he was giving me step-up fights. Like my first 2 fights, you know, you want to get your ring experience, stuff like that. Like, you know, they're pretty much pushovers and stuff like that. But after that, you know, he was like, okay, I'm going to move you like a prospect. He was giving me tough fights from like my 3rd fight on until I came back to the States.
Right. Do you stay there? Do you live there for a little bit?
No. So, I mean.
Going for the fights?
No. So, I mean, from Inglewood to Mexico is like literally a 2-hour drive. So we would, so we would leave Friday morning, like 7, 8 in the morning, get there for weigh-ins, or like, well, we get there like 10, 11, go to the weigh-ins at like say 12, stay for the weekend and leave Sunday.
So does it work the other way too? Do a lot of fighters from Mexico come up to California and fight there, or is it a lot of Americans going?
Yeah, it's pretty one way. I mean, for the most part, people go to Mexico to build up their resume. So like, if you don't have like, say for instance, like an amateur pedigree or something like that, then usually go to Mexico to build up your resume until you get to the point where you're working with promoters in the States.
And I guess if you're a good fighter from Mexico, like Canelo or something like that, you probably are already got 100 fights by the time you're 18.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's
probably already
16.
over in America.
Exactly.
I got you. So there's no like major difference from, because I've traveled, but I went over to Europe. We talked about that a lot, and the culture when it comes to boxing is 100% different.
Yeah,
like over there is like almost their number one sport.
Definitely.
You didn't feel that way in Mexico, or did you?
Yeah, so like when we went to Mexico, like you'd see big murals of fighters from Julio Cesar Chavez and stuff.
Mexico is pretty much California at this point. You're saying that it's only a 2 hour drive.
Yeah, really, it's only a 2 hour drive. Yeah,
wow,
yeah,
that's crazy. So you're working your way up the ranks and everything like that, and there's the business side of the boxing, there's the boxing side of the boxing.
Definitely.
How do you feel about the career and the way that it's going and the projection with both things? Do you feel like you're elevating as a fighter and elevating on the business side as well?
Definitely.
Yeah, because it could be a frustrating thing for some fighters. They could be fighting and feel like the business side just ain't working out.
Yeah.
Or they can have a lot of money and they can not be doing something on this side. But you feel like you're pretty much.
Yeah, I feel like we've been put in positions to where we met people on the business side that can, that they've kind of, they've walked the walk before. So, me and Booth have both made relations with people where it's like, okay, they've moved on the business side, so they understand how it works and they understand, what's necessary to get to the next level. So, they've introduced us to it. And obviously on the fighting side, we both have the mentality, we want to push ourselves to the limits on a consistent basis.
So how do you deal with fighters that you have beat already that want to have a rematch? You only got 8 fights. It's hard to do rematches with only 8 fights.
Yeah.
But we know somebody wants to run it back.
I mean, me personally, I don't have a problem with giving anyone a rematch, but at the same time, like you said, there's the boxing side and there's the business side. So like, me with my bravado, I'm going to give you whatever you're asking for, but on the business side, that has to make sense.
Yeah.
Because like, at that point in time, his manager actually said that, he was trying to figure out, at first it didn't make sense for them to take the fight. And then he was saying he didn't understand why I was taking a fight so early in my career. As if, I was, whatever. For us, it's like we won the fight with a unanimous decision. It wasn't a split decision. It wasn't, it was 6 rounds to 0. There was nothing close about the fight. Right. So for us to take on the fight again, it has to make sense for us. Because as we're stepping up in competition, the only win for that is him at the end of the day. Because it's like, if I fight you again and I beat you again, they're like, okay.
You beat him up.
So for him, of course it would be something for him. It's like, so, like I was saying, as far as the business side, it has to make sense for us.
Well, why do you think now that they want to run it back? You think it's...
that Texas built.
Wait, it was a belt involved.
Well, he gave me the belt. So it wasn't on the line, but he just gave me the belt.
How does that work? Was it a sanction?
It definitely wasn't sanctioned.
Right. So he just gave you a belt that he had.
Because when they came out, they brought their belts out.
Right.
They walked out with their belts. So after he lost, he gave me the belt.
Well, I don't get it though.
I don't either. I don't even know why they brought the belts out.
Manager, yeah, 2 trainers, he out there. You know how they be like in a big fight. They got belts up.
Yeah.
He had a WBC green belt. Like, come on, you got like 6 fights. You don't got no WBC. You know what I'm saying?
What was it?
It was like a junior belt or something.
Yeah, like an amateur belt.
Yeah,
sometimes
intern belt.
Yeah,
right.
It was like a junior belt or something, like a youth belt or something.
Yeah. So he wants to fight you for a belt that he didn't even really.
Well, no, the other belt was a Texas state belt. So he brought out 2 belts. So he brought like a youth belt out, and then he brought out the Texas state belt. So he won the Texas state belt.
So he was a Texas state champion.
Yeah.
So you can't even really fight for that belt, right?
No.
You're from California.
No.
So that doesn't make sense. Why don't you just give it back to him?
I gave it to my coach. You got to talk to my coach.
Like this. I told people this. I said, look.
Why don't you come over here? Why don't you come over here so the people can see you?
Let me see.
I am Jay Boost, the coach.
Yeah, this is Sonny's coach, Jay Boost. So
basically, what I was telling Bleep about the fight was, we don't mind giving a rematch, you know what I'm saying, but it got to make sense, you know what I'm saying. So that note is, he's 8-0, 5 knockouts. You know, he's 6-1 and 1 now. You know, it's cool. And man, we from Inglewood, California. He's from Texas. Mm-hmm. We took your belt that you didn't. You know what I'm saying? You put on the line.
Right.
And now we got the belt. You know what I'm saying? So we're not gonna come to Texas to fight you. You know what I'm saying? You gotta come back to here to fight us.
Right.
So now that we got the belt and we beat you, unanimous decision, which means you did not win a round. You got cooked.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's on film. You got cooked. You know what I'm saying? You got cooked. You lost all the rounds. So we move on. So now all you have to do is keep winning. If you keep winning, we're gonna keep winning, and then hopefully when we get like we get 10 rounds, and then he got a name, and we rebuild a name. He got to come back to California, and fight it. Then it'll be on a bigger stage. And we building a fan base. Right. You know what I'm saying? And our assumption is that
his name is what? Donardo
Minor.
Yeah.
Minor. Yeah. Let's just put that out there. You know?
Yeah, Donardo Minor.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? From Texas. So when we get to a certain status for like 10 rounders, and he's there, and he's winning, he's in the rankings, and we in the rankings, the cruiserweight ranking, and then we got the belt still, and he challenged us, okay, you know, I want a rematch. Then it kind of makes sense a little bit because he's been winning. He's probably like in the rankings with us. Yeah. Okay, you gotta come to California. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Well, his last fight, he got a second round knockout.
Yeah.
Or something like
Baltimore,
that. But you said that you wasn't scared about that.
I mean, I felt his punches. So you know, I was in the ring. I felt the punches. So like, you know, I mean, the guy that he fought.
Sorry to cut you off, but he probably thinks that fight was good enough to get the rematch with you because he knocked the guys out in the second round.
I mean, our thing is, as fighters, so you have the casual fans that'll see 8-0 and be like, ooh, 8-0 with 8 knockouts. But then you have us that actually study box recs, and you'll see he has 8-0, 8 knockouts against a guy that's 1-7, a guy that's 3-5, a guy that is a debuter. So it's like those knockouts are like, I mean, we all can knock, you know, debuters out. Like, that's easy. So it's like, and then, so like, when you look at the actual guy you fought, he was like, you know, in terms of, he's a kid, he was like 24, 23, something like that. He was a younger kid, so it's like, but he was a young, I mean, he wasn't really built like, you know, actual athletic heavyweight. He was just someone that had some power that was knocking people out, so.
Right. Now we're going to leave Donaro alone. Yeah. Maybe in the future. We'll have you both on the podcast. He was on the podcast with me about 2 weeks ago. I told him you were coming on the show. And I ain't going to call him right now.
He gonna tune in.
He'll see it. So at cruiserweight though, it's like a weird weight. It's kind of, to me, it's kind of like where I was at a lot of my career, light welterweight. 140 is kind of similar to your weight class, where when you're training, you might box somebody that's 135, you might box somebody that's 155, or there's a big range of people that you box. But you might have to box somebody 250 or something like that.
I've been there.
How do you feel about being a cruiserweight in the world of 6'7" heavyweights and having potentially one day maybe have to even fight them in a real fight?
For me, I've always been a shorter guy growing up. So for me, it's always been easier to fight taller guys, just based on what I understand from fighting taller guys. That once you get in their personal space, a lot of them panic. So if I'm in your personal space, we spend a lot of time fighting in a pocket. So if you can't fight in a pocket, then there's not much you can do with me, for one. And then number two, a lot of heavyweights in this day and age aren't really finesse boxers. They're more one punch. They're just looking for a knockout. So it's like, our thing is, make sure your defense stay tight. I can take a punch. So, obviously we're not in the game of just getting hit constantly. Everybody get knocked out for doing that. So it's like, I feel like as long as, until I meet someone that's, an actual boxer at that height, then it's not a real advantage in terms of, like, people say, you're 6'7", 250, whatever, but it's like you're a sitting target for the most part.
You can use your skill
to
balance that out.
Exactly.
How do you feel about the cruiserweight boxing the heavyweight, coach?
It depends, you know what I'm saying? We don't really kind of like look for that work, but if it comes and the guy's not really too big, then yeah, you know what I'm saying? But some be like too big, but we need to work and we can't got nobody to box with. We'll keep that defense tight. Right? Keep that defense tight, and it don't matter how the fight goes, outside, mid-range, inside, be good there. Keep that defense tight. You'll be all right with the heavyweight. You know what I'm saying?
So how did you two get together? How did you guys meet as fighter and coach?
So we both from Inglewood. So when I started training at Rogers Park, he was going pro at Rogers Park. So
you're a professional fighter yourself.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, and I went to prison at 18 years old. But before I went to prison, him and my brother both got shot. So they both were in rehab together. So when I got out, during the pandemic, I got up to like 220 or something like that. So I got out like 195, 200.
The pandemic was just 2 years ago. You know what I mean? So y'all just getting together.
Yeah, I mean, we knew of each other, but we just started really working together September 2020. So we was following each other on social media. I seen he was a boxing coach. So I boxed when I was younger. I seen Rogers Park wasn't open anymore. So when I was looking for a coach, I wanted someone that actually was boxing. And I know, because, you have a lot of people now just social media trainers.
Yeah, of course.
So, I was like, he was actually a trainer. So I want to actually go work with somebody that I know actually has been there. So I started working with him. And I always tell people he really tricked me into boxing because I was really going to get in shape.
You turned pro with him?
Yeah.
All right, cool. How many amateur fights did you?
We only have 4.
Only have 4? Cool.
Yeah.
Just to give you some encouragement, my father only had 5 and went on to be 2-time heavyweight world champion. So amateurs don't really.
Hey Tim, where does one have that pimp jab?
That's an up jab. It's called an up jab. Throw from the waist.
Ohio, Coach O. I like Coach O. Coach O. He called it the pimp jab.
Yeah.
And I was watching a podcast with the heavyweight from Brooklyn, the one about Let's Go Champ.
You're talking about now you making me drunk. Shannon Briggs.
Shannon Briggs was talking about Tim Witherspoon from Ohio, right?
No, my dad.
Yeah,
from Philadelphia.
Philadelphia?
Yeah, South Philly.
Okay, we talking the pimp jab. He said he got a pimp jab.
I seen Shannon Briggs do something on my dad talking about the overhand.
Yeah.
Saying this is Tim Witherspoon overhand. But you guys opened up a whole lot of can of worms just now. No. Because, you said that you did some time in prison, right? You also said that he got shot.
He was in prison as well.
His brother got shot. Both in the prison. All right. How long did you do in prison? We don't want to talk about what you did to go there. I did
9 years.
9 years in prison. How old were you when you went?
18.
18 when you went in prison. And so you were 27 when you got out? and then you started training. Right.
I started training in 2020. I got out 2018. I started training in 2020.
Now, I'm not a fan of saying that prison reforms people or anything like that. I don't really think that it does.
No, I don't either.
Well, it did something, I guess, because you came out and you had a different mind frame. Do you remember reflecting when you were in there, or what did it do for you to make you come out and become an 8-0 professional fighter traveling around the world?
So for the most part, it fails the people that go in there. But I mean, as far as my life, I've just been fortunate for the people that I've been able to interact with. So like when I went to prison, I went to a level 4 prison and I was around a bunch of lifers, and the first thing they asked me was like, how much time you got? You got 9 years. Oh, you got a date. You going home. So like, I've heard other people where like they go to different prisons and it's like they got a date, but you give them knives, you got them stabbing people. So like they get new charges and they think it was like, you going home, get out of here. So it's like, I was around people where it's like, okay, you want to get your money right, you want to get your books right, whatever stuff like that will help you do that, but get out.
So you went and found a support system
Definitely
inside of prison that helped you stay on a narrow path, and you still using them tools till this day. Yeah.
So I mean, obviously, I'm 19 in prison. I'm just like,
right, you're a kid.
I'm feeling crazy. So like, I had my days where I was messing up and stuff like that. But for the most part, I never went over to the part where it's like, I can jeopardize not being out again.
Right. And you got your release date, and did you go live with your parents again, or? Yeah,
so no, I moved in with my brother when I first got out. Yeah.
Right.
So, I mean, they wanted me to go to do the halfway house stuff, but it's like, a lot of the programs that they offer, not to knock anybody else, but it's like, I don't smoke. I haven't smoked or drink for years. So it's like, I didn't have those problems where I needed help. I had a job my first week out. So like, fortunately, I didn't have some of the problems that other people have when they get out. So it's like, I was able to get out and just, kind of hit the ground running.
And Coach Boost, you were a professional fighter.
Yeah.
And you got shot as a professional fighter.
Yes. Got shot twice.
Shot twice, the same time.
After my first pro fight in 2005, I'm 21. I got shot on my jaw right here and my face.
Okay.
While another blood from Inglewood, do some gang stuff. And bullet got
opening up more cannons.
The bullet got stuck in the back of my neck, and then the next day, I was in the hospital. Then I had surgery, took the bullet out. The bullet got stuck, I guess, in a muscle. They took the bullet out, and I went back to boxing. And that was 2005. 2007, I got shot in my back, in the back in the corner. I was out in the corner, hanging out my homeboy, and I had a gun on me. And enemies to the gang I'm from approached me, said some words, and then I decided to shoot my gun first. My gun jammed. They started shooting, and I'm nervous. I've never been in a shootout before, like for one-on-one. I've never been in a gunfight before, so I'm nervous. My gun jammed. They started shooting back. I'm trying to run and trying to pop the bullet, put a fresh one back at the same time. Got shot in the back, boot, and I fell, paralyzed instantly. Good thing that they wasn't no killers, because they ran. They could have came to serve me. They wanted to,
right?
But they kept on going, and then that was that.
You were a professional fighter. It just kind of reminds me of Mitch Blood Green out of New York. He was still in gang activities while he was fighting Mike Tyson. So was that your life? You was going to the gym, training, you had a fight schedule, but you still
I was still involved because I was still in the neighborhood. Recipes to my mom. You know what I'm saying? My mom always wanted me to get out of Inglewood, and I always wanted to be on the block. My neighborhood, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm comfortable.
Right.
Yeah, I get not worship, but I get catered to. You know what I'm saying? I have it my way. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to go nowhere else. You know what I'm saying? I have homies from my hood that want to take me out of the hood. You know what I'm saying? Be like, hey man, you come to live with me. I'll take you to your practices and I'll do this, do that to keep you out of the hood. Me, nah. You know what I'm saying? I can make some money in the hood by doing nothing. Sell some weed. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. local females down the street. I ain't gotta go far out getting a female. Some Cubans live across the street that know me, actually want to mess with me. You know what I'm saying? So I stayed in the neighborhood. That kind of like, I think, bothering me a little bit. You know what I'm saying? And then I was a big fan of Rocky. So the movie Rocky, Rocky running through the neighborhood.
Yeah. That's the neighborhood that my dad grew up in.
Yeah.
Just let you know that. Because you said he was from Ohio. No, that was you see him running through the market?
Yeah.
That's where my dad's
from. Man,
so
I used to run from my hood. I used to run from my block all the way to the Great Western Forum. I run around the Forum 7 times, all the way back to the other side of the hood, which is where I stay. And I felt like Rocky. Everybody be, hey, hunking, when I see you, booze, you getting, hey, I got a fight coming up. You know what I'm saying? Right. But I was gangbanged yesterday. You know what I'm saying? So it was kind of like a mix-up. So that's how I ended up getting shot and stuff.
Yeah, so you guys kind of have a little bond over the streets of Inglewood.
And we relate so much.
Right? It would be a good idea if you guys went and spoke out to the other kids, if you haven't already done it in Inglewood. And obviously your story, you said that you didn't want to get off the block. Now look at you. You in Philadelphia, up in New York, Ohio. And I think that people need to get out of their hood so they can see the way other people live and make friends with people that they might not necessarily make friends with. I don't know if you can do that because I don't know what kind of gang activity. I should have had you sign a waiver before we came on. In Philadelphia, we don't really have gangs per se.
We
still have a street.
I'm considered like an old man now. And I don't really like people call me OG. I'm 39 years old.
You're the same age.
People call me OG, like dude older than me.
Yeah.
What's up, OG? I'm like, man, I'm 39. Like that's cold.
Yeah.
But so like I don't, I don't. It's over with. Right. Once I got out of prison, 31. You know what I'm saying? Like, and my time in prison, I told a lot of stories. You know what I'm saying? And as I got out, I'm like, I'm old. All I got is stories. And gang life, kind of done everything. That, you know what I'm saying? Like, I participated. I ain't gonna say I participated in gang activity. You know what I'm saying? And I was able to still be alive.
Right.
I went to prison. That's like gang life is so crazy because this stuff you gotta go through. You know what I'm saying? You gotta go to prison. You gotta all the evil things. You gotta. That's like part of like you know what I'm saying? Your status.
I used to call it the counterculture.
Yeah. So it's like I have nothing else to prove or it's over with.
You know what I'm saying? Everything off the list.
Yeah, I don't want to gangbang on nobody. You know, I got Crip homeboys.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
So are you originally a blood?
I'm blood.
Okay, you are blood.
I'm gonna always be a blood. You know what I'm saying? It's a difference between being a gang member and a gang banger. Once you join a gang, you're from a gang forever. Even when you die, your homeboys will still bring you up. Right. You know what I'm saying? So, but being a gang banger is different. You're a gang banger, you actually participate.
Yeah, you're like a soldier.
You're like a soldier. You're on the front line.
So you can be a gang member and be like an accountant.
You could be a
lawyer or something.
Alumni.
Right, alumni.
Alumni. That's basically what I don't participate. Right. You know what I'm saying? Nothing like that. But
so how was your transition though from being a fighter to all of a sudden now you giving back and being a trainer? He's still on your show, bro. How was it?
It was actually I was doing it a little bit, when cause Hector, the same recreation coach at Rogers Park, you know what I'm saying? When I came back to boxing as an amateur, he was the head coach of the park. So I was like back into the streets heavy. I was on a walker and shit. If I got shot paralyzed, you know what I'm saying? I'm on a walker. And I come to the park high, you know what I'm saying? And the kids are still kind of like look up to me. Like, hey, you know what I'm saying? So he told me one day, like, kids still be asking about you and look up to me, come back to the gym and just, speak and you know what I'm saying, put the mitts up a little bit. So I did that, and then I liked it. You know what I'm saying? I ended up going back to going to jail. I did 5 years. So that whole process of me in jail, my whole thing was I wanted to be a fitness trainer, a certified fitness trainer. I told my mom that. I told people that I wrote letters to my neighborhood. I want to be a personal fitness trainer. And I want to add boxing to it because I know how to do that.
Right.
And social media was new at the time. So, you know, I was able to get a wind of social media and see everybody trying to throw boxing stuff in there. I'm a real boxer. I really know the shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to throw that up in there too. Right. And then when I got out, I went to a halfway house first. I was there for 2 years. I left the halfway house. I went to Compton College. I graduated in 2 years. I became a certified fitness trainer. And I started working in the gym in Long Beach. I moved. I went to the halfway house in Long Beach. That's another city outside of Inglewood. That's in LA. It's a distance. And
that's Dr. Dre. Right? He's
Snoop Dogg.
Snoop Dogg.
Yeah. No, that's Snoop Dogg.
That's
Dr. Dre from
All right.
So I ended up coming along at Jackrabbit Boxing Gym in Long Beach. Made my way up in there. As soon as I started doing my thing and posting videos and training girls, having them look like something, working on my skills too as being a coach. It's a whole different ball game from a boxer to a coach. So working on my stuff, different people hit me up. And guess who hit me up? The champ.
Right.
You know, the champ hit me up, say he's want to get in shape and all that type of stuff like that.
And then that just snowballed.
It just came in from there.
How long between the time that you guys first got together did you have your first fight?
I had my first amateur fight. We started September 2020, and then we went to right when the pandemic opened, we went to the Las Vegas amateur show.
Nah, man, you got to tell them the first time you sparred.
Oh, well, I sparred in, January 2020? February 2021.
First time
I sparred.
But you was fighting.
But he was
I
a fighter.
I was a street fighter,
Yeah,
but
exactly.
boxing, that
Yeah.
was my first time I ever sparred in February 2021.
That's what wanted me to want him to fight.
Right.
Because everything, I know is everything as being a coach, you know what I'm saying? You want a boxer, you don't really know nothing to you, you know what I'm saying, to a personal spar. Mm-hmm. People telling me about Bleak, you know what I'm saying? We know we both bloods out of Inglewood. We all know a lot of people, you know what I'm saying? When I was training him, dudes calling me, hey, Bulls, hey, blood, go. You know what I'm saying? Blood, go. I was in a pen with him. He getting niggas off the yard. He on a boom bop squad. Because they saying that he wasn't bad in prison, but when it come to like get somebody off the yard or got to put a demo down, he was the guy. You know, with the hands. So they telling me, they said, I don't know if he want a box booth, but got you one.
Right.
I said, all right, I kept in my ear, whatever. He sparred. I told him, I said, hey, man, look. I said, man, you got it, man. I said, man, you should be a boxer. He's talking like, hey, you know, he said, I don't smoke. I don't drink. I hardly watch TV. I said, nigga, you boxing.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. I said, if you don't box, you might as well start smoking, start drinking, or start watching TV, nigga.
Yeah.
You'd be wasting talent.
Already living like a monster. While wasted. Man, so from, what is it? It's only 2023.
Yeah. That was 2020.
That was 2020. So
2021 when he sparred.
So 2 years.
Yeah.
So you had your first spar match. Now 2 years later, you 8-0 as a pro. How does that feel? Like, has it just been that fast?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's like you really can't even, because it's like we've been going, so it's like
You haven't even had time.
yeah, because like, and then it's like we constantly learning, so it's like, you know, when you look back, like we laugh because we was both laughing because he posted like when he first started training, like his first female Amanda, like the first female he was training, he like as a coach on the bits, he was laughing because he's like, he don't look nothing like that. Right. And I'm laughing because I looked at my first spar in February 2021. I'm like, we both are just not the same humans at all.
But it's growth, right?
It's a lot of, and that's why it's funny because like, you know, social media, like you can actually catalog the holes, and it's just funny just looking like lazy jabs and him on the miss and just wow, it's just funny like
right,
oh
right.
yeah.
But that's good, man. You guys can look back and see, you know, how far you've come. You got another fight coming up. What is it? Like
27 Memorial Day weekend.
Okay.
Ninth pro fight.
Yeah, your ninth pro fight. You got somebody with 6-0.
6-0, one draw.
One draw.
Mm-hmm.
So two undefeated guys going against each other. How you feel about putting your O on the line?
I mean, I don't really have a problem with it as far as me. I mean, like I said, I've just always been around, been fortunate to meet people that, our interests kind of make sense to each other. So like the promoter that I work with now, he's, like I said, he's moving me like a prospect as well. So like I went from one promoter in Mexico, moving me like a prospect, to now this guy, Ed Holmes of All Star Boxing, he's moving me like a prospect as well. So like we had our first fight there. I fought a guy at 1 and 2. Because he doesn't know who I am.
Mm-hmm.
You've been fighting cupcakes in Mexico,
right,
so it's like I don't know who you are. So he had me fight him, and then from there he's just been moving me up. So I fought a guy 5 and 3, just fought 5 and 0. So now I'm moving up to another guy 6 and 0.
So the last guy you fought was 5 and 0 as well.
Yeah.
That wasn't De Niro.
Yeah, he was 5 and 0, 5-0 and 2.
Oh, okay.
So he had 2 draws.
All right. So now the fight after this is gonna have, they're gonna have to come with the state championship or something.
I mean, for us, it's just stepping up, man.
So what do you know about your opponent? His name is what?
Suray. I can't pronounce his last name.
Mama Tofik.
Mama Tofik. I can't even pronounce your name, let alone that. What do you know about him?
So I've watched a couple of his fights. He actually moved up from light heavyweight, so he was down in light heavyweight and came up. I don't know why he came up to cruiser, but he came up to cruiser. So I watched a couple of his fights. I watched his last fight. I think he fought a guy like 2 and 1 or something like that. So I've been watching.
All right, cool. What about you, Coach? You been studying him?
Yeah.
I ain't gonna ask you the game plan.
The one with Capricorn. I'm an overthinker. You know
so what's that? December?
December.
Yeah.
Right. December and January. We both Capricorn.
When's your birthday?
December 26th.
That's my aunt's birthday. My dad's is the 27th.
Oh yeah, your dad's a fighter. Google Capricorn boxers.
Yeah.
You'll see how many others up there.
Everybody.
Bernard, Roy, Frazier, Foreman.
See,
Ali.
I'm a Sagittarius. I'm right before y'all.
Yeah.
So we fight.
Layla Ali. But I'm gonna tell you what I think of the fighter we about to fight.
Right.
He has his jab is reasonable. You know what I'm saying? He got a cool jab, but the guy I seen him that he had a draw with, the best boxer he had fought, he had a draw with. The guy he had a draw with didn't really have a jab. You know what I'm saying? But he was a pretty cool fighter. You know what I'm saying? But he didn't have a jab. You know what I'm saying? And Sheree looked good against him using the jab. You know what I'm saying? So I can't really see how good a jab is, but it looks fundamentally sound. She shoots it pretty sharp.
So
pretty
basically
fast.
what you're saying is his jab was better than the other guy's jab, but he didn't have one to match his.
Yeah.
So you couldn't really get the full effect.
Yeah,
I got you. I mean, obviously you guys are confident. You're not worried about anything. What about like the whole night? Like, is it going to be family involved? We're gonna have people come up and watch.
Yeah, so
is it in your hometown?
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so how fighting in front of your home crowd?
This would be our 4th time fighting in front of.
4th, yeah.
Yeah, and it's the same as if you go on the road.
Yeah, so I think we're gonna be headlining again. So this is my 3rd headliner at that.
Your parents are around?
So my father passed in 2011. And my mom, she's actually in Ethiopia with my sister.
Oh, yeah? Is that where you guys from?
No. So my sister retired from the Air Force and joined the State Department. And so she's been traveling. She was in like the Netherlands.
Okay,
she's been traveling. So my mom retired. So my sister,
The reason why I asked you that question is because no matter where I was fighting, no matter how many people were in the stadium, I could always hear my mom. For some reason, there was just that one person, and her voice would just be distinct. So I was just wondering if that was the case for you.
No, one of my aunts is like that. She's one in my coaching girl. They both did. They both sounded off. So
good, but that's support.
Yeah, definitely.
That's support. And, you got this fight coming up May 27th.
Yes, sir.
You said Inglewood
Commerce. No, it's gonna be in LA. Commerce
LA
Casino.
Commerce Casino.
Mm-hmm.
He got a cool little fan base. He got a little fan base.
Nice. Well, we gonna bring the fan base from Young Black Suburban.
Yes, sir.
Is it gonna
sir.
be on any streaming?
Yeah, it's gonna be on Boxing TV, bxngtv.com. So they'll be streaming.
All right. Well, you guys got sparring to get to, so I'm not gonna keep you too much longer. But wait, that's your thing. Right there. This will be sparring everything. But
We gotta get our Phillies work.
exactly. So, but before we leave, and I'm gonna ask both of you guys this question. No, actually, Coach J. So I'm gonna make you go first, since this is his podcast. I usually put people on the spot and tell them to send a message out to the world. It don't have to be about boxing. It don't have to be about church or anything. It could be about whatever you want it to be about. It's your message to the people. On the spot, freestyle.
Okay. Find your niche. You know what I'm saying? Whatever that is that's inside you, that you're good at, and you know you're good at, and it's valuable to the world, and it can better your future and help others, jump on it. You know what I'm saying? That's your calling. That's why I figured it out, and as being a boxing coach. Right. I'll say that. And be on it. You know what I'm saying? Don't listen to nobody. Try to water down your dream or what you believe in that you're good at or that's your calling. Jump on it because you know what your calling is. Trust me. You'll know what it is. It might take some time, but you'll know what it is.
Now, Sonny, your message to the world.
I would just say that in my experience, life is a canvas, so you can always create whatever sort of image you want. You can paint whatever picture you want, like regardless of what other people try to taint or put on you, you don't have to accept it. So like me, I came out, I created my own canvas. So like I look at like vision boards or, you know, goals that I've set in prison, and I look at them like I'm past those, so I have to make new ones. So it's like, you know, no matter what you feel like your situation was, your past was, you feel like you lack, what you feel like, where you feel like you start. If you have, you know, the ambition to do it and actually have what, if you want to put in the work to actually pursue it, nobody can get in your way. Just because, like, I tell people all the time, to me, life is like a simulation. Like, people create simulations in their mind all the time. It's just most of the time they create negative simulations. But if you create a simulation that's in your favor, there's nothing really that won't happen. And just the way life works, things are just attract to you just randomly. Just because you're in that motion, you're in that realm, and people want to be around, you know, people that are making moves.
That energy. All right, guys. Well, that's Sonny Bleep McEwen.
Yes, sir.
I will never mess up names again. And Coach J Boost. This is the Young Black Suburban. If you guys like what you watched today, please like, share, and subscribe. We'll catch you guys in the next one.
Sir. Yes, sir.